Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning to Miss Zaidatul Shakila binti Muhammad Ash'ari. My name is AINA BALKHIS binti ZUMRI from class AS120-B. Today I would like to present to you about aerobic respiration and fermentation. Introduction. Cellular respiration is a set of metabolic reactions and processes that take place in the cells of organisms to convert chemical energy. Glucose, a high energy, is oxidized to form low energy carbon dioxide molecule, and oxygen is reduced to become water molecules, which is also low in energy. Glycolysis takes place in the cytoplasm that requires input of 2 ATP. Break down the glucose that split into 2 molecules of pyruvate. Presence of oxygen. Part of presence of oxygen is aerobic respiration. Part of catabolism process, breaking down larger molecules glucose into smaller ones, that is pyruvates. Aerobic respiration is a type of cellular respiration which requires oxygen in variety of molecules. Energy can be extracted from a respiration. The problem statement of case study aerobic respiration and fermentation is different process of aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Case study question have 5 that I will discuss today. That is, first, a summary equation for cell respiration relate with redox reaction. Second is, describe all stages in aerobic respiration and anaerobic respiration. Third is, take major differences between anaerobic respiration and fermentation. Fourth is, what is the significance of NAD plus in fermentation? 5 is, what does Stanley need to do to redesign his original experiment? So, here we go to fermentation. What is fermentation? It is also known as anaerobic respiration, sugar breakdown pathways that ATP is produced and does not require oxygen. First, begin with glycolysis in cytoplasm. No electron move through electron chairs, so no ATP is produced. Oxygen as the electron carrier. The processes use substrate level phosphorylation to generate ATP. Then have two types of fermentation. First is alcoholic fermentation and second is lactic acid fermentation. Alcoholic fermentation is convert pyruvate into ethanol with two steps where it will release carbon dioxide from the pyruvate to become a acetaldehyde. So, acetaldehyde will then reduce by the NADH to ethanol. The processes used by yeast and many bacteria. Lactic acid fermentation is pyruvate. Pyruvate is reduced to form lactate that will generate NADH to NAD+ with no release carbon dioxide. In human body, lactic acid is produced during extreme activities such as running, hiking, and swimming. Next is a discussion. So discussion, I will discuss all questions from this case study. First, a summary equation for cell respiration that is relate with redox reaction. So, my answer is cellular respiration involves many reactants. Electrons are passed from one molecule to another. Involving electron transfer are known as oxidation or reduction reaction. Central role metabolism of a cell molecule loses electron. Oxidized molecules gain electron. Reduce. So, aerobic reaction. Describe all stages in aerobic reactions and anaerobic reaction. So, I will explain to you. First is aerobic respiration. Aerobic respiration has 4 stages in aerobic respiration. First, glycolysis. What is glycolysis? Glycolysis is process occur in the cytoplasm. A 6 carbon of glucose molecule is converted to 2 or 3 carbon molecule of pyruvate. In order to initiate the process, 2 molecules of ATP are consumed. 4 molecules of ATP and 2 molecules of NADH are produced. Second stages is formation of acetyl coenzyme A. Process involves shutting pyruvate molecule into mitochondrion. Each pyruvate molecule is oxidized in carbon dioxide and a 2-carbon acetyl group. The carbon dioxide is released as a waste product and the 2-carbon acetyl group is bound to coenzyme A and bound into the mitochondrion. Third stages is the citric acid cycle. That is, each of the 2-carbon acetyl group produced from the original glucose. Glucose molecule is bonded to a pre-existing molecule is oxaloacetate to form citrate. These 2 citric acid molecules are gradually oxidized and the hydrogen ions are bound to NAD to form NADH and to FAD to form FADH2. Oxaloacetate is produced when the last carbon atom is released in the form of carbon dioxide. 2 ATP molecules are synthesized for each glucose molecule entering the cell. The last stages is electron transport chain and chemiosmosis. The electron removed from the molecules in glycolysis and citric acid follow a series of cytochromes on the mitochondrial membrane. Protons are pumped across the inner membrane of mitochondrion. These protons flow through ATP synthase enzyme molecules and this by release energy which drive the formation of 34 ATP molecules. Anaerobic reaction. What is an anaerobic reaction? An aerobic reaction is a breakdown of food without oxygen. Okay? Requires oxygen to produce ATP. Without oxygen, the electron transport chain will stop to operate. Glycolysis couples with fermentation or anaerobic respiration to produce ATP. Anaerobic respiration uses an electron transport chain with a final electron acceptor. Fermentation or anaerobic respiration uses substrate, that is a level phosphorylation. Okay. Third differences. That is, question is state major differences between aerobic reaction and fermentation. Aerobic respiration is aerobic respiration oxygen is used for deriving energy, but fermentation it occurs in the absence of oxygen. If aerobic respiration it occurs 3 CO2 and H2O. Fermentation just it occurs in the cytoplasm. Aerobic respiration end of product are 3 carbon dioxide and H2O, but the fermentation end of products are ethyl alcohol and carbon dioxide. Aerobic respiration complete oxidation of the respiratory substrate takes place, but fermentation incomplete oxidation of respiratory substance take place. Okay, the last one is aerobic respiration. 38 ATP molecules are 5 produced during aerobic respiration, but if you use fermentation, only 2 ATP molecules are produced. That's all for differences. So we proceed to question 4. What is the significance of NAD plus in fermentation and cell respiration? Fermentation reaction is NAD plus molecules pull electron of nutrient molecule that also transfer them to pyruvate. Cell respiration reaction is NAD plus molecules pull electron of nutrient molecules Cell respiration transfer them to electron transport chain. Last question is, what does Stanley need to do to redesign his original experiment? Stanley needs to ensure the absence of oxygen for fermentation to take place. Therefore, he can use a lid for the glass to create vacuum or any other alternative dishes to the glass with the lid. The lid will prevent oxygen from entering the flask. Fermentation takes place when oxygen is absent, and also that yeast grow well with the present oxygen. Conclusion. Every living organism undergoes cellular respiration, right? Aerobic respiration needs oxygen as the final electron acceptor to produce ATP, while anaerobic respiration uses inorganic molecules as their final electron acceptor in the absence of oxygen. Few stages in aerobic respiration are glycolysis, link reaction, Krebs cycle, electron transport chain. Aerobic reaction, 30 or 32 ATP produced from all the stages. Anaerobic reaction, two types of respiration: alcoholic fermentation and lactic acid fermentation. In alcoholic fermentation, pyruvate is reduced ethanol. But in lactic acid fermentation, pyruvate is reduced to lactate. 2 ATP is released by anaerobic respiration. But if aerobic respiration, 5 ATP is released. That's all from me. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.